Here we got a 1966 Belvedere that he's owned since 1997. But you just now got it restored the last, what?
I've been driving it 14 years.
Oh, you have? Okay. Well, I was thinking it was just a few years.
That job is 14 years
It don't
old.
look it.
And I'll show you this. Come here and that's a BMW black is what it is.
I'm with Keith Sayre, the owner of this car.
Wow. We've done everything down here. My wife and I, we actually, when you're on a poor budget, we done the seats like 5 years before I done the car and put them upstairs to the house till we could
It's a beautiful instrument.
I think she rolled over 48,000 miles. Yeah, it's got 48,616 on it, going to the Mopar Nationals last year.
Now, do you think that's been rolled over before you got it?
Oh, no.
Okay, you know all about it.
Yes.
Cool. Man, that's a nice.
35,000 on it.
When
I bought it in '97.
Okay.
And as you can see, when we restored it, it really wasn't bad. The car wasn't bad at all.
That's what I was going to ask. What kind of condition it was in?
And the floors were great and everything. It was a factory gold car. And when I got it, it was turquoise.
Okay.
And then
wow.
The tubs, we extended them 7 1/4 inches.
But it looks factory.
And then Steve Durbin, a friend of mine, he's the one that come up with all these plans. We have 2 frame rails under it. We bought one out in Columbus. I think the boys were out of Colorado that sold it to me, but it has 2 frame rails under it, and that's as big. I wanted to go bigger on the tires. I wanted to go 18.5s, but I went 15.5s because I got to keep the back seat. No roll cage, no nothing.
I think they look just right on it.
It's solid. It hooks up great, but the floor was. We had to take the spare car out for you guys to know what a B-body is.
Yeah.
So we made it solid. People like to steal your gas caps. So Steve Durbin and Charlie Smith, good friends of mine, that helped me do a lot to this car. I couldn't have done it without them. We come up, we cut the bumper, and they narrowed a 70 Roadrunner gas tank. And, and these little rubber things here, you see a little glue there, but the plate went back in. So a friend of mine that I worked with, Todd Anderson, we do heating and cooling. Those are the plugs out of a heating cooling unit I put there. So that's a poor man's setup.
I understand that.
But and you know, the tail lights I think come out of Canada. This tailpiece is the original tailpiece. I took it down to this, what most people do, but then I masked it and I painted it. And then my wife painted the Plymouth by hand. And then
well, you couldn't tell that. It looks. I mean, that looks professional.
And it done a good job. And let me show you what she done inside. I've got to show you that on the inside. Everything you see here, that on this dash, Plymouth, the emblem, lights, wiper, anything that's gray.
She did that.
She hand painted that. That's all hand done. But like I say, we done the seats like 5 years before I done the car because I just didn't have the money. Those sun gauges right there.
Yeah.
1971, I bought them off of Randy Roush. He took them out of his Nova our senior year, and I bought them and I had them in boxes, all that stuff till I got to this car.
Wow, that's cool. It's man, so you got something here that's over 50 years old in it, huh? Or no, that
many years I've drove her out to the Mopar Nationals. This isn't a trailer queen. This is a driver.
That's the way to do them.
This paint's 14 years old, and we drive it. I've put 13,000 miles on it. This engine here, it's probably only 3 years old. A good friend of mine, Ron Polly, my other 440 blowed up, and I took my car over to his house, and when I went on vacation and come back, he had built me this 440. And yeah,
he's good about
that. So it's a great sounding motor. It's got a comp cam in it. It does a good job, which you can hear it run here in a little bit.
Do you know an idea what kind of horsepower you're pushing?
It's probably 415, 430. I mean, it runs on pump gas. I run 93 in it, and it does a great job.
Got the old school battery.
Well, that's actually a cap, Willie.
Oh, the top.
The top. That was a that was a battery I got and spilled the stickers off of it.
So you can buy them to make them look old. That is so cool.
Buy that, and but it's just like I say, the old thing. All the chrome on this car. All the grill on the side chrome and the tailpiece and everything are original, except these lenses. And what I done, I stripped these down and then masked that black and the silver argent, just redone them. And the only thing that's not original is this headlight bezel here. I had a big dent in it, and I've got so many of those.
That's a beautiful emblem. I never noticed that before, where it says 440 right there.
Okay, that's actually, they don't reproduce a 66 emblem. That is a 67 when they come out with the 440 in the GTXs. In 66, you couldn't get a 440. Okay. They didn't come out till in the B bodies with them, but in 67 and 66, you could get a 225 6-cylinder, a 273, a 318, and this car was a factory 361 Golden Commando car, a 383, and then 66 was the first year for a 426 Hemi. And so this didn't come with that. So this emblem, in 66, they were just flat, and then they had the motor size like 440, which it didn't make, but it was on the back. Like when we had the 426 Hemi, it was 426. So they reproduced these 67s, and then this piece right here, it had Golden Commando, but to go with that, that's aftermarket. But all this chrome is the original, and I just took it down, stripped it, then painted the gray argent and the black around it. So it's not perfect, but it looks all right. It's a driver.
It's pretty close to
this Belvedere emblems in '97. I went to Carlisle, Pennsylvania after I bought the car, and I found those. Mine were a little tarnished and stuff, so we done that. And,
I think just as clean underneath as it is.
Yeah, I've got a new. I've got Steve and Charlie. They're going to help me. We're going to put a. I already bought the sway bar for it. We're going to. It was, like I say, it was a Golden Commando 361 car, but like I say, when you get looking inside. I kept all the original parts, but as you can see, it's got all new rubber everywhere. I mean, Steve and him even helped me. We took the, there was nothing left in here. We took the dash out. We took the heater box out. They make a rebuild kit for it. And, but the car's just a turnkey.
It's beautiful.
It's just, I'll tell you.
It's one of the most beautiful black cars there is around here anyway.
I'll tell you, you just put the key in it and see how easy that starts?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was out to the good guys one year, and a guy pulled in a 64 Chevelle, and it just sounded great, and I followed him. He had the same thing on there, and I said, "What do you got on there?" And he said, "I got that exhaust stuff keeps in the ground." Now, if you go to a show and there's grass and dirt, it's not real fun, but it is what it
blows
is.
it up, yeah.
I like it, yeah. So,
yeah, you're not on it, man. Them rims are deep. Beast.
You know, bought the floor mats and stuff. I actually have the inland shifter out of my 66 Hemi, that I'll tell you that story in a little bit when we do that part about my dad.
Okay, we'll add them all together.
But she, I don't know if you'd find a better 66 that was, that had a little bit of rust in the front fenders. And I went to Carlisle that year in '97 when Dad died, and I put this car away, and I found these front fenders rust-free. A husband and wife were there they had disassembled a 66, and he sold me both those rust-free fenders for $150 in 1997.
Wow.
But you couldn't buy them now. But I mean, so this car, it had a little bit of rust over the quarters and the fenders, but the trunk, the floors.
It's a beautiful car.
It had been sitting in a garage 15 years. When I found it, I heard the story was it was a father-son project. And when they done it, the kid was real young, and the father died shortly after that. So it sat in a garage for 15 years. Then I got it, and I didn't have any money, so I put it in a garage for 15 years. So it sat 30 years before. Now he had it running. He took it to the drag strip. That kid growed up, and he couldn't keep tires under it, so he'd put a 440 in it and had it. It didn't look anything like this. It was turquoise, but they had done a good job. But it had been a 15-year restoration too, you know. And then I got it and set it 15 years till I retired from teaching and coaching. And
yeah, black don't lie. It's so straight down the sides. I mean,
well, the guy that painted it,
if you had body work that wasn't good, it would show up. It is professionally done.
Well,
and being a low mile car, I think, you know, I know you told me one time what you was offered, and I think that was a little low.
Well, I don't really want to sell.
Yeah,
if
I know.
Someone come with the right price.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't even know. You know,
you don't.
I couldn't build it.
No, that's the whole idea about this.
I couldn't find one this good. Like I say, the lights are different.
You'd have to put quarters and everything on an old rusty one.
This piece they sell, you know, but.
Was it a vinyl top car, or did that just come with it? Okay, that's how they came?
These came with a 2-door hardtop. Okay. You see a little glue there where I sealed the things. I put a little too much on her, but that's 14 years old. But what you got to realize, this car has never been washed in 14 years with a hose.
Okay.
It's been wet at some car shows. The Mopar Nationals a couple times got me some different car shows because I drive it. But I take it home, put it in the pole barn, cover it up. When I take it off, I use that California duster right there and instant detailer and wiper with a soft cloth. And
so how many years? 14?
14.
It's been clean since you got it painted. That's the only way it's been clean.
Yep. It's never been had a hose on it in 14 years. That car's never been washed.
I just can't get enough of this car. It's just so beautiful, and the sound of it. I mean, just you hear the horsepower just screaming out of the exhaust. I don't know. I know you said you wanted to go wider, but I think it looks just right.
I mean, look inside one more time there. If I would have went 18.5s, and I met an old guy that was dragging a GTX Hemi car, 67, and he told me if I stayed 29 and I wouldn't have to stretch the wheel well. So everything fit under there. And but see, I got to keep the back seat and everything, and it looks it looks original. Other than the wheels and tires.
It looks like what they call day two. Like you bought it new, you put a set of wheels and tires on, exhaust. You know, they call it day two items. You know.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and like I say, it's a driver. It's not a trailer.
Well, you're a lifetime.
But it looks pretty good.
You're a lifetime Mopar guy. Now, can I ask, when you was younger, did you luck into this car, or was this a belt? Did you want a Belvedere? I mean, was it something that you wanted when you were?
Well, instead of doing that other interview, you want me to just tell you how this car come about then, and Dad?
Let me stop.
We said the lifetime thing.
Now, how did the car come about? Like, I mean, was this something like I know you were a lifetime Mopar guy. Did you always was this one of your top 5 cars you wanted or something?
Well, the deal with it, my dad, growing up, he worked at a Plymouth dealership.
Okay.
And when I was in junior high school, I mean, he had been a Mopar man all his life. He worked at the Plymouth garage, but he always liked cars. Dad just loved cars. Then we eventually ended up with Sayre's Used Cars, our own car lot. But in the early days when I was in junior high, Dad, as a demo where he worked at Plymouth garage, he bought a red on red with the cloth inserts, 426 Hemi, 4-speed car, Belvedere 2, but he ordered the satellite chrome.
Okay, so it went around the
satellite had chrome up here
and went around the bottom.
Had here,
yeah,
but not like the 67 just had the wheel moldings and the rocker. The 66 had the wheel moldings, the rocker, and the rear rocker. That's the year they done that. Well, I just loved that car, and you can imagine riding around in a Hemi car with your dad.
When you're how old?
I was in junior high.
Okay, so you had to be 14, 13, somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere around there, because later on then, my first car I got, that Dad got me to start with my driver's license, I had a 65 Belvedere 1 post car, 383 Hurst 4-speed car. Well, I drove it a while, and Dad had sold his Hemi car, and my senior year, I graduated in 1971, but it was in 1970, he come home one day, he went to the auction, and he brought me a black 66 Belvedere, looked just like this, except it was black with green interior, 426 Hemi, 4-speed car.
Wow.
So it just had regular rims and stuff. Well, he told me over at the car lot, they had, we're definitely Road Angels. That was my dad's car club too that he was in the 50s. I'll explain that to you in a little bit. But anyway, I had that black Hemi car. Well, needless to say, the first day I drove it to school, I got in trouble. I'd put a set of, about all you could get was 10-inch sticks, and I bought a set of magnums off of Tom Rue. A new Roadrunner come in over there at the car lot, and the people wanted white walls and hubcaps. So he jerked the red rings off of the magnums, and Dad said, you better get over there. He's got those Wilson tars, and you can probably buy them right. So I went over there, and I bought them for $300. Lug nuts, rims, tars. At that time, I put a set of slicks on the back rims, and that's what I ran on that thing. And got in trouble, didn't have the car too many months, and Dad made me sell it. He said I was a nut. And,
Afraid you to go kill yourself.
Well, the deal with that was my mom, when I was 4 years old, had got killed in '57 in a Dodge. It was the Hemi 2.4 car, even in '57. So Mom was killed in that car. She was by herself and wrecked one evening, and it killed her. But Dad said, I've done lost your mom, I'm not going to lose you. So he come home from the auction that week with he made me sell my Hemi car to my cousin, Mike Schuler, and he had it, and Dad brought home a '69 Roadrunner, which is actually, when Dad got rid of his Hemi car and stuff, and then in '69, he ordered a demo '69 Roadrunner at the car lot. And that's what I took my driver's test in, was a '69 Roadrunner.
That's something to brag about.
So I've had all these Mopar cars. Then with the Belvedere, like I say, I had to get rid of it. And Dad come home on a Wednesday. The auction was on a Wednesday, and he come home with a '69 Roadrunner, 383 4-speed car, butterscotch. And I just wasn't into butterscotch. But everybody said, well, you get all these cars. I said, that's my dad deals cars. We love cars, we do this. So he said, come on a Friday night, football season was over and stuff. So he said, we're going to take a ride. Well, we went out to Tansky's in Ohio, and when we got there, there was a '70 Roadrunner sitting outside the showroom, 446 pack, vitamin C, bent seat car, orange with the white interior, the big pistol grip, 446 pack car, had 900 miles on it. An old man and an old woman bought it new and traded it back in. And Dad goes, and we had that '69 with us, we just bought, had it in 3 days. And he goes, there you go. He said, take that and try it out. Me and the salesman went, tried it out, and I said, boy, this don't have much. He said, what do you used to drive? And I said, a Hemi car. He said, well, it's no Hemi. I said, you're definitely right. But anyway, we come to the conclusion, my cousin was already getting this car, the black Hemi car that I had, and so I settled on the '70. So that was my graduation gift, was a '70 Roadrunner 446 pack car. And actually, I'll show you a picture.
We got pictures. That's a good thing about it.
There I was going to the prom. You see the red ring tars and the magnums on there. And it, okay, there's a picture of my '70 Roadrunner. I went to 3 proms my senior year in that thing, and everybody said, they just inviting you for it cause a car. I said, yeah, I know, but I'm still having fun. But there's the 10-inch slicks you can see. There's the red ring magnums. And while we're on that page, there was Dad's Hemi car. And what I forgot to tell you about it, you see 1966. There I was in junior high. And you see the car, there you can see the molding.
That's the, okay.
That's Dad's car that he ordered as a demo. Probably one of the first Belvedere Hemi cars in the area, because it was, instead of saying 426 Hemi, it said HP2. And I think what I'd heard on that was, on the HP2 car, there was only like 50 of them made. Wow. Jay Leno's got one that looks almost exactly like Dad's car.
That was rare. I've seen that video you're talking about.
Yeah, and
on Jay Leno.
The HP2 car, and I always thought it stood for Hemi Powered 2.4s, but when I researched it, it meant high performance squared, you know, to the second power, and nobody got it. So they ended up moving to 426 Hemi down on the fender. So this is a very rare car.
They only made that for very few that year, right?
I think like the first 50 or 50 some cars is all the HP2 was ever on it. So if you had an HP2 car, you're very rare. The car lot, the owner, he had me driving this on the weekends trying to sell it for him, a Superbird in the 70s. You can see on the side, 1970.
You want to talk about how they're worth so much now, but they was hard to sell back then.
Yeah, he couldn't sell it, so he had me taking it out on the weekends, because right over here in Pomeroy, this is a parking lot. Back in the late 60s, early, that's where we cruised, and then there was Crow's Steakhouse. If you look up there, there's Crow's now, but you drove around it, then you went on off the bridge, and there was Adolph's up there. And you just had, every weekend, you had muscle car heaven. I mean, it was a cruise.
It was sort of like that even in the 80s.
So, now there's the car Mom got killed in. There I was at 4 years old. This was a Hemi with 2 4s, and that's what she got killed in. Well, you know, life.
I know.
Things happen.
I just can't.
And then I got out of.
I cannot tell you sorry though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now this.
Now here we go.
Remember.
The Chryslers. After I got rid of the cars, well, I better show you one more
you went
because
into the 4-wheel drive.
I went into the 4-wheel drives, but I better show you.
That's what I remember.
There's what I drove to college. Then once I started working myself, I went to the E-body, and this is my wife. We weren't even married yet then. I took her to the prom the first year she graduated, but this car was just amazing. I bought it off a friend of mine, low mileage car. That's a 72 340. I run 456s in it, and it was a lot of fun to drive. And I had it till you know, I come back and taught at Wahama, where I graduated from. I graduated in 71 and come back in 75 at 22 years old and taught 33 years there.
Absolutely beautiful, and the car's nice too.
Oh yeah, well that's
a beautiful wife.
Yeah,
this was my gym teacher, and everybody liked Keith Sayre, and he always had a nice Mopar driving to school, you know, and he was always. I can never not remember him not having a Mopar. You had so many different versions.
Yeah, that's a 74. There's the one I wrecked in 86.
Yeah, I remember that one. And then that's one of your last ones, wasn't
that? That was the last one I had. Well, no. There's the last one.
Okay. I remember that.
And we took that one, and I had a friend of mine, we dropped the motor and had a 318 and put a 360 crate motor in it with a Holley projector.
I know
throttle body.
That's nice.
Now that, and I've had the Dodge plate for how many years? I mean, I've
decades.
For West Virginia. So we got that, but and then also there's another one of my trucks.
Oh, that's a power wagon, isn't it?
Yeah, it had 44s. That was a 79. That was the only year of the dual headlight. And then my first year of teaching, Dad called me and he found this at an auction, and I went and bought it. That was a 74 Chrysler Concord 3 jet boat. A Chrysler, you can see Chrysler right on the back of it there.
So
it was
Chrysler,
a 340
I did not,
jet boat.
I've never even heard of those.
Yep, it was a...
Never even knew you had it either.
So I bought an old Dodge pickup to pull it, because back then all I had was the Cuda, and I wasn't going to pull that with it. But and there's the river I live on, well, just right on the Ohio River, so you can see we had fun. But I've had Chrysler products all my life, and here's the car. Here's this car when I first bought it, so it wasn't bad shape.
No,
it was turquoise with Keystone custom plastics.
I used to love those Keystones.
And then like I say. Steve Durbin come up, but you can see there's the gold floors, and with everything out of it, the heater box and everything, we stripped it down completely, and then rebuilt the heater box. Everything's new in it. Also, you had when the guy painted it, he had it. Well, there's how we done the frame rails. There's the other set of frame rails. Can you see that?
Kind of getting the shadows of our heads in them. Maybe, can we set it down there? There we go. Now we're doing it right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
You got 2 frame. There's the existing frame rail. We just shaved the front off. And then there's where we put the 7 1/4 pieces in and come through with the other frame rail. So the car is solid. Then we put everything new under the front end. There's the H pipe.
I love that exhaust.
Which it does sound pretty good, doesn't it?
Well, it looks like it. The way it
there
just
she
looks
is.
good.
There she is underneath. Still got the 8 3/4, but I went away from had the rear end narrowed. Now there's the only little bit of rust she had, and we had to put those patch panels. And you can see once he was finished with it, then he painted everything
before he put it together.
As you can see, right there's the fenders, the hood, the trunk, the dash. And then here it is painted apart, and nothing was left on it, you know. And then I started the inside, but I wanted to show you the first day back from paint, if I can find that.
Yeah, I can't believe that paint's 14 years old, and you drive it everywhere. It's not like you garage it. Well, I mean, in the winter and rain, but I mean, you drive it to the Mopar National, so that's pretty cool.
There we go. There's the first day back from paint.
I kind of like that look. That looks wild without the grill and everything in it.
Now
still had the key. Still got Is them Keystones?
Yeah, that's the wheels that were on it. They've been on 3 or 4 different cars that people's restored. I just loan them to people to that's what they are now. They're old, but then we started putting her together, and piece by piece, and like I say,
Oh,
It just took a while to get everything together, but then we started driving. I drove it like 5 years without the chrome on it. See it there? It had the holes in the side because I couldn't figure out how to finish the chrome.
Yeah.
And it just took me a while.
Now, these set of wheels you've had on it since the key, I mean, these always been, okay, always been that set of wheels.
Always been that set of wheels, and it's just, like I say, it's a nice car. Now, here's Dad, and we was going to do this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because he's the reason I reckon I love cars. He was a great car man. And he went by Pistol. Everybody knew him by Pistol. And this is the Road Angels. I believe they started in 1953. And here's Dad here. There's Pitt on there. He is there.
I see. I've never seen him as a young man.
Well, they'd go to the local drag strips, the whole club, and there's some trophies. Then, once I got this car done, I talked to a friend of mine, Dale Humphreys, and we decided. I said, "You think there'd be an interest?" Because the Road Angels probably went from 53 to 59. Like I say, Mom was killed in 57. These guys, they started getting married. Things happened, and the club just sort of faded away. But we actually put the club back together several years ago, and I don't really know how many members we have now. This was our first year, and these are original Road Angels. This is Bob Roach, and people know him in our areas as just a man that had so much art talent and everything else, stainless steel. But he's
world known for building the Mothman.
Mothman.
He's world known for that.
And these are Road Angel people that were still alive. Bob has passed away. Sherman has passed away, which, he was a national record holder several years. Alan Lee is gone. Bob's gone. Eddie Bumgarner and Jack Pickett's still alive. I think there's only 3 or 4 of the originals. Oh, yeah. And we still meet in the park. This was our car lot over here, but
I remember.
But it was a restaurant back in the day.
Oh, see, I don't remember
and
that.
And that was
the building's still there, isn't it?
The building's still there, and that was a restaurant. But the guys always hung out in the town park, and this is the first year of our club. We're all in the park again, and these pictures are. I think there's one here of back in the 50s, and we took that picture and put right here. There's a picture back in the 50s. You see the restaurant over there from the park, and it's taken from the same spot. This is Dale Humphrey's truck, and we took that just to show you that we're trying to do the same thing that the old guys
done. You got to
done,
respect the past.
and have a lot lot of fun.
That's what I love about this.
But Dad was into it, and right here I'll show you.
His original.
High school.
Original jacket.
This is original, and all these things are designed by Bob Roach. It was in the club. It's stitched, and then it was an old Wilson jacket, and there's Dad's name, Pistol, and the Daytona 500 was big back then with the checkered flag, so that's what they done.
I loved talking to Pistol.
This in high
Pistol
school.
Was such a. I never did see the man not smile.
Oh,
he was all. If you was in a bad mood, that man would cheer you up.
Okay, now here's my jacket.
Okay.
We tried to recreate. What they had back in the day.
That jacket looks perfect.
Well,
I mean, I see a little wear, but I mean,
it's got a lot. I had to have those sewed on it when I wore it in high school, because if you see, it's threadbare. See here.
So you wore that in high school.
I wore this in high school.
You was proud of your. You's a proud dad.
But
son, that is so cool.
And the club today, we try to do a lot of things. We ended up getting a tax number, so we're tax exempt. We have car shows. We just had one right here in this parking lot.
And it was huge, wasn't it?
A few weeks ago, like 90 cars.
In a town of 721.
Yeah, that goes to the kids. We had to raise money for the kids for Christmas. People brought money, brought gifts, and then we also do a scholarship for our high school. And
I did not know all this.
And it's the club. Everything we do, we raise money mainly for the Wahama Scholarship Fund.
Yeah.
And we gave $2,000 ones last year.
Wow.
To local kids in our high school.
That is so good that you're one. The car community, I think anybody that's in it will say it's one of the best communities there is. The people are so giving and willing to help.
It's, I'll tell you what, it is a great community. And, I growed up, I'll be 70 in January, and things were so much different back then, but I got to say that I grew up in a great era with, getting my license in '69. So the muscle car era. I mean, we go over that parking lot, and you never knew who was going to bring what in. Pro street car, drag car, just 302 Z28s, Chevelles, just anything. It was just a great time, and every weekend. And you know,
to live in the muscle car era. That's the muscle car.
I wasn't a drinker back then, and we just enjoyed life, and cars was a big thing, and you know, we just had so much fun. But
yeah, the muscle car era now, I mean, 50 years later, people are wanting these cars, but you actually lived in them when they were new cars, you know, newer cars.
Like I say, that's how this car come about, because I tried to create my high school Hemi car, but I just can't afford the Hemi. But that 440 runs great. I was running 410s for about 11 years, and then the last 3 years gas got so high, so I'm running 323s now.
Okay.
And but like I say, Ron Polly built the motor, great friend of mine.
Good. He's a good guy in the community, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's a car guy.
He's had a car for 4 decades. That 71 T37.
Cars now, because we used to travel to all the shows.
Yeah.
And Steve Durbin and Charlie Smith, we travel, and we go to Carlisle, Pennsylvania every year. We were going to Norwalk. They canceled it out last year. We go to Clay City. We always, as you can see, that car's been to Mopar
let me show them again.
with all those stickers there. The only one that's not there is the year of the COVID. They canceled the show. So
and you'll probably be going for the next 5 or 10 years.
But my friend Steve, I'll tell you what, he come up with all this, how to tub this, and people have copied it at the Mopar Nationals. I show it with people because it's a great way to do it with no roll cage or anything. In the car with the 2 frame rails, and he put brackets across to strengthen it. And then Charlie come up with the 70 gas tank, and he had to cut and narrow it for the other frame rails to come out the back, because people were trying to steal my gas cap at shows and stuff, and I put a screw in it so you don't fill this car up anymore at the filler net there. You go to the back and do it. But you want to get me one far enough, make a lap?
Yeah, let's do that. Do you care? I brought another phone to kind of do everything, but we're doing so good with this one. I mean, let's just keep it rolling.
We'll just keep rolling. I'll just make a little loop here so you can hear it.
Yeah.
Starts hard, doesn't it?
It starts right up. I can't believe it, Keith.
Just hit the key. Yeah, early in the morning when it's cold and stuff, it's different, but once you run a little bit, it's great.
And I want to thank Keith. I asked him, after I got monetized, I really want to get the guys' stories behind the car. Keith is more than willing. He's more than willing to tell other people I want to do this. He's actually my first one to actually do an in-depth link like this. I do want to thank Keith Sayre. He's having fun. I tell you what, I'm 55 and he's 70, and my gosh, he acts like a kid. He's always like this, guys. He is always fun. Don't get much better than that, does it? You get the first shot of the video before it hits on YouTube. Junk Car Willie. You'll see this video in about a week. Junk Car Willie. It'll be up within a week. You can actually say you're the first one to see it. Man, Keith, I don't know what to tell you, man. I was just saying on channel, I was like, this guy is not putting a show on. This is how he is all the time. He is one of the happiest people. And the thing about being around positive people, you can come around Keith and not be having a good day. You go away feeling good. He's just all about positive, and this is how he was in high school. I had him as a gym teacher. And would you please say what you used to tell us about our stuff and about ourselves?
Okay.
You had the same thing for decades.
Yeah, I taught 33 years, and I started when I was 22 years old, back to my high school, and coached and taught there for 33 years. And I had 2 rules in my class, physical education class. Treat other people the way you want to be treated, and treat other people's stuff the way you want your stuff treated. And that meant don't rip people off in the locker room, take people's stuff, you know, don't throw their clothes in the toilet and stuff like that. I hated bullies, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I wanted everybody.
And you didn't pick favorites.
It was on participation. I didn't care if you was the the
Worse?
worst volleyball player,
As long as
the
you
worst
try.
this or that, ping pong. You know, we done archery, we done everything, but we tried to make it fun. I always wanted to say, hey, when you come to my class, there's no homework, there's no test. Come in here and participate, give me your best, and it's a participation grade. You dress every day, you got an A. You don't dress, you don't do things my way, it won't be real good for you.
It was great.
I loved kids, and I enjoyed myself.
You never picked favorites, is what I liked about
Well,
you. You treat us all, well, you treat us equal. And like you said, it didn't matter. I wasn't into sports, but you treated me just the same as if it was a football player in there doing it that you was out there coaching.
That's what I try. And, you know, I'm sure there's some kids that don't see it that way because they didn't want to listen and do things right. And I always tried to teach that if there's a consequence for your actions, and, you know, you have to own up for what you've done, but we can all have fun and enjoy ourselves, and that's the way I see life right now. I mean, this car, every time I say I'm going to sell it, my wife says, you leave here, you get in that car, you fart up,
and
big smile comes on your face, you're having a bad day, you can go take a ride, and now, like right now, this car will probably go to the old barn.
They know I'm on video. Everybody wants to be on video, don't they?
And I'll put it up on jack stands every year, but the cover on it. When I bring it out next year, all I got to do is uncover it, California done, ready to put it on it, oil and everything. But like I say, I drive it, and as you can see, I don't baby it all the time either.
I've seen this man upset, and he brought up something that reminded me of that. I've seen him when he caught a bully, and he wasn't happy with him. You made it sure that you did not like it. I remember an episode one time, but you that's what I think I like about you. And you talk about a few. Well, there's a few everywhere. I'm sure it's something they did in our community. Let's just say that everybody speaks highly of this man, highly in the car community, and I respect him, and I respect for what he's doing, and I just want to thank him again for doing this. A lot of people don't want to talk about their car. Keith is always willing to talk, like he's talking about helping the car community out and respecting the past. He's still, and I tell you what, I'm 55. I hope when I get ready to turn 70, I'm still out doing what he just did.
Well, you know, I do want to say one more thing.
Tell me whatever you want.
My wife has been a big part of this.
Okay.
To let me do the things, because
What's she call it?
She calls it my
the other
girlfriend,
the Belvedere, Miss Belvedere.
She goes, go over in the garage and get your other woman,
that's
your dear, Belvedere.
Yeah.
Belva, your dear, and I don't see you much during the summer because you're always with your other woman. During the winter, we take off and leave together, but we have a lot of fun. But I also wanted to thank, you know, my life has been so blessed. The Lord has been so good to us, and I just want to say, you know, that without Him, things aren't really very good for people. I mean, they got to realize that that's the life you want to live, because it makes things good. And I'm sure that on the weekends, He don't mind me going out in my car and doing this and testifying.
He encourages it.
And being good. And, you know, when I go to the shows, people say, hey, we heard you laughing down there. We knew you was here. I said, life is great. It's what we make of it.
Yeah.
But I try, you know, why worry about things?
Right.
If something happens, it is, but you can try to fix it. But you know, if you got God in your life and you love other people, I reckon that's what I do. I say, where's the love? If people are arguing and stuff, I say, where's the love? Come on now, we got to do things for each other, you know, and that's what upsets me about our country now. You can't even stop, and if someone's broke down along the side of the road, it's pretty scary if you got your family with you to pull over and try to help them.
Exactly.
And that's awful that we've come to that. But as far as me going to car shows and stuff, a lot of great people. The people we meet are, we just got so many great, every time I go to shows, I just meet so many nice people. And I appreciate you for what you're doing, Willie. I mean, you know, this is great what I'm getting to do, but I mean, you travel all over and do this every day, and
thank you. I appreciate it.
I know you love cars and love what you're doing.
My heart's there. I tell you, just you, the way you are, you know, you're an inspiration. I do what I do, but it's nothing to how you've lived your life and been a Christian man, and, you know, and spread the word. you can be a Christian and have fun.
Yes.
You know, you can't, you know, where's all the, I don't want to be a Christian, I don't want to quit having fun. Well, you'll have 10 times more fun if you're a Christian.
Yeah, and you remember where you was last night and what you done.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, and there were parts in my life, when I went to college and stuff,
Yeah.
I started doing things I'd never done before. And I mean, I never drank beer before, but boy, I found out what it was like. And then I found out that after about 7 years later, it wasn't a good thing to be drinking all the time. And you do things that are stupid.
Yeah.
No, but so it is what it is, and I just enjoy the car, and I thank you for doing the video on it.
I want to thank you.
Dad was my inspiration. He was a great car guy, and
He was a good man.
Been in
Good man.
motors my whole life. You know, I mean, I just about anything you think of, I've had it. But back then we didn't have garages, so you sold your car to get a newer car.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've got a lot of buddies.
And they weren't what they are now. They were just like a new car that was a few years old. You wasn't thinking, what am I going to do 40 years down the road? Yeah. But as always, I end all my videos, guys. It'd be a boring world if we was all the same. Get out there, find adventure, and keep being you.